Hello there, oh spooky ones. Decadent Gamer here, and right now, we're in the month of October. The weather is getting cooler, night is setting faster, and Halloween is just around the corner. So naturally, I wanted to do a game just for the occasion, and I decided to do a review for Alice Madness Returns, a game that I've always wanted to play ever since I saw the teaser trailer back in 2010. The game was developed by Chinese developers Spicy Horse, and was created with the Unreal Engine. Now before I begin, here's a little background on the series as a whole. This game is actually a sequel to American McGee's Alice, a game developed by Rogue Entertainment and was released on the PC back in 2000. The game was a more darker, twisted portrayal of Lewis Carroll's Alice in Wonderland, providing a more gothic macabre atmosphere. At the time, the game was considered a huge commercial flop, but it did gain an underground cult following, and 11 years later, it finally got a sequel. Now I gotta be honest, I spoiled the hell out of this game when it first came out, and heck, I didn't even play the game until this month of this year. I was just so hooked on trying to learn all I could about this game and the style behind it, so that should explain a little bit about how I feel about the game as a whole. But anyway, with all that said, here is my review for Alice Madness Returns. Now to start things off, the graphics in this game look really nice for their time. The art style was going for a macabre, gothic, Tim Burton-like style. I really like Alice's character model, it just looks so eye-capturing. Everything down from her facial features to the details on her dresses. I especially liked how the developers took time to give motion to her hair as it blows dramatically whenever she's in movement. I love when designers make little details like that. I also enjoyed the Cheshire Cat's updated design. He looks so sinister and creepy and delicious. Yeah, delicious. All the other characters looked pretty cool and fit the game's stylized atmosphere. The cutscenes were done in a woodcut puppet book style, and while I did find it creative, it did give me a headache when they'd violently jerk around when it came to dramatics. I would have much preferred if they did the cutscenes in a CGI animated style, but that's just me. Now as far as the story goes, I really don't want to spoil it for those who haven't played the game yet, because seriously, the story is pretty good and worth checking out. But let me warn you, this game has probably one of the most psychologically messed up stories I've ever seen in a video game. When you get to the 5th chapter of the game and learn the truth about the fire as well as Alice's job at the Wayward Home for Abandoned Children, it is both disturbing and disgusting. The main trend in the story is that everyone with the exception of her ex-nanny wants Alice for something, and these people are just seriously messed up. You can't help but feel bad for Alice. Okay, so maybe the story isn't as creepy as other games in the horror genre, especially the indie titles, but still, I really enjoyed it. The gameplay in this game is that of a typical 3D platformer mixed with some hack and slash action. Think of games like Jak and Daxter or Banjo-Kazooie, only more darker and creepier. Alice controls pretty good with fast and responsive controls, and was a big improvement over the sluggish controls in the first game. Alice can perform triple jumps to reach higher platforms, and she could also float to reach ledges. Alice's main weapon of choice is her trusty Vorpal Blade, and while it starts out pretty weak, as you upgrade it, it becomes a force to be reckoned with. Aside from that, she also has the Pepper Grinder, a weapon that pretty much acts as a gun to take out enemies from afar, as well as hitting targets to progress further in the levels. The Hobby Horse, a large horse mounted that can be used to smash the shit out of your enemies, as well as taking down weak walls. And the Teapot Cannon, a weapon that launches hot balls of tea as explosive grenades. Each weapon can be upgraded, and as you do this, they become even more effective in combat. All the weapons work and are quite fun to use, and the leveling up system was a good finishing touch for them. In saying that, you also have the Parasol, which is an item you can use to deflect projectile attacks. It takes a little getting used to, but when you get the hang of it, it becomes a very handy weapon. And last but not least, you have the Clockwork Bomb, which can be used to blow up weak walls, as a paperweight item for platforming, and a decoy to distract and damage your enemies. Speaking of which, the main form of currency to buy upgrades for Alice's weapons are teeth. Why teeth? I have no idea, and if there is a reason, I have no clue what it is. Still, it's pretty interesting, I guess. As far as Alice's other abilities, in the beginning of the game, after drinking some Drink Me potion, she is able to shrink herself at any time she likes. This ability is very important, as you'll need to do this to see hidden pathways to progress through a good portion of the game. While it can be a bit tedious doing this, the sections they require are very short, so it really isn't too bad. This ability also allows you to see hints and find secret pathways to collect unlockables. Another cool feature was how Alice's outfit would change in each new level. At the title screen, you're able to choose which dress you'd like to wear, and each dress has their own special side effect. It was a pretty neat feature, and all the dresses looked really creative. This game's level design is beautiful, and one of the best things about the game. While there are only 6 chapters to explore, each chapter has its own unique world, and they are very different from one another. You have places like a serene green forest, a dingy industrial factory, the underwater depths, a traditional Japanese garden, a pathway made of cards, a macabre gothic castle, and a creepy dollhouse. Each level has so many intricate details that help make the levels feel alive. Even though the platforming gimmicks were simple, I still have to give mad props to the developers for making each level stand out from one another. The music was composed by Jason Tai, and the style was going for dark ambience mixed with some neo-Victorian. I really enjoyed this game's soundtrack, and I felt that each song matched the respective level. I especially enjoyed the themes for Queensland and the Dollhouse. They were so creepy sounding, and sounded like something out of a twisted fairy tale. I just loved it. The voice acting is also pretty good. Alice's voice actress does a pretty neat job giving her a moody but refined voice. Sure, she may sound a bit emotionless at times, but it really does match Alice's personality. I also enjoyed the voice acting for Cheshire Cat. His voice actor made him sound so sinister and mysterious. It was just delicious. That's the only word I could think of for it. Delicious.
I've not come back here looking for a fight.
Really? That's a pity. One's certainly looking for you.
The overall voice acting was done in an old Victorian English style, so the characters speak with heavy English accents that could possibly annoy some people, but I didn't really mind as it helped enhance the game's setting since it takes place in the 1800s. All in all, the voice acting in this game is great, and the music was great too, so I have no complaints. Now really, there aren't many things that bother me with this game, but if I had to mention any nitpicks, one of them would have to do with Alice's gameplay. When it comes to platforming to ledges, I wish that Alice was able to grab and hold on to ledges when it comes to the platforming. She was able to do this in the first game, so I'm disappointed that they removed it, especially because this game is just as platform heavy as the first one was. Another issue I ran into was how some sections and levels were a little too dark, which made it hard to see where I was supposed to be going, but these are few and far between, so it really wasn't that big of an issue. And lastly, this game has no boss battles at all, which was frankly disappointing, mainly because the art style in this game was amazing, and I feel that they could have designed some really cool looking bosses. They also would have helped up the challenge level in this game because, to be honest, this game was pretty easy. So I feel that some boss battles would have done this game some good. Now, the biggest complaint I heard about this game was that it's too repetitive, and while I can definitely agree with that, the truth is that when it comes to most 3D platform games, it's to be expected. So while I can agree that this game was repetitive, it personally didn't bother me that much because as a fan of platform games in general, I'm pretty used to it at this point. So it really didn't bother me that much. Now, does the game have any replay value? To be honest, unless you're a completionist who likes to 100% games, not really. I mean, don't get me wrong, if you're a completionist, this game has you covered. There are so many things to collect. But to the average gamer who just wants to play for the story, it's pretty much a one and done game. All in all, I really did enjoy this game, even if it was fairly short compared to other 3D platform games. The game had great art direction, improved controls from the last game, and an engaging story. While this game could have been better with more tweaks and boss battles, the game was good for what it was. That all said, Alice Madness Returns gets 8 out of 10. The game did fall short in some areas, but I still did enjoy this game, and I feel that an 8 is fair enough for it. The game may have lacked in the challenge department, but it made up for with beautiful art direction and a great story. And well, that's enough for me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a like and share, and if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe for more gaming goodness. I'm Decadent Gamer, and have a great day. And also, I hope you have a spooktastic Halloween. Thanks for watching.